Welcome to The Explainer. If you're the kind of person who loves cutting through the noise to find the actual architecture of a truly powerful idea, well, you are in exactly the right place today. We're going to unpack a concept that is deeply, brilliantly paradoxical. Honestly, it's a single premise that takes our modern assumptions about how to achieve a good life and just flips them completely upside down. Okay, let's dive right into this. We live in a world that is literally constantly telling us to just focus on the positive, right? We're supposed to envision success and manifest good outcomes all the time. But here, we're confronted with a glaring contradiction. Can the deliberate act of contemplating the negative actually make you happier? I mean, it sounds completely backwards at first glance, doesn't it? How on earth could focusing on what could go wrong ever lead to a state of well-being? To really wrap our heads around this cognitive dissonance, think about these two opposing ideas side by side. The phrase negative visualization sounds, heavy. It sounds anxious and dark, kind of like a looming storm cloud. Yet it is directly linked to the bright, sunny promise of actually making you happier. So our main goal today is to build a bridge between these two fiercely opposing concepts. To figure out how this actually works, we need to realize this isn't just some passing thought or a cheap psychological trick. The authors specifically elevate this by calling it an art. An art implies craft, doesn't it? It requires care and intention. It is the absolute difference between accidentally spiraling into a panic about losing your job and intentionally sitting down to mindfully contemplate that exact same scenario. So the crucial point here is that this concept is anchored in a foundational philosophical framework. We're talking about a tradition used by ancient heavyweights, from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius to the formerly enslaved philosopher Epictetus. We aren't just letting our minds wander off into dark, anxious places. We are applying a precise, battle-tested tool that was designed for a very specific purpose. And the actual engine driving this whole philosophy, it comes down to just two very specific words: negative visualization. Now, this isn't just having a fleeting worry about, a bad afternoon at work. The visualization part demands active imagination. It means painting a crystal clear, vivid picture of the absolute absence of the things you love most. Imagine waking up tomorrow and your car is just gone, or your partner has left, or your health has suddenly failed. You are actively stepping into that harsh reality in your mind's eye. But here's the catch. You can't just do this once and call it a day. It is a deliberate practice. Think of it like going to the gym to lift weights. Negative visualization is essentially a mental muscle. It requires active, intentional repetition if you want to actually rewire how you experience your daily life and the world around you. Let's move on and see how this builds into a really clear step-by-step roadmap. First, it starts with that Stoic framing and intention. Then you move into the core action, actively imagining loss. And it's that deliberate mental friction that definitively leads to the final amazing outcome: increased happiness. This really hits the nail on the head regarding the core dynamic at play. You literally cannot get that result of deeper happiness without the rigorous practice of staring down the negative. Why? Well, it's because as humans, we're hardwired for something called hedonic adaptation. Basically, we get a new job, a fancy new car, a great new relationship, and boom, very quickly, it just becomes our new normal. We totally take it for granted. Negative visualization acts as a psychological reset button, actively breaking that bad habit.
Now, what's really interesting about this entire concept is the absolute clarity of the final claim. It makes you happier. Not just a little more resilient or slightly less anxious, but genuinely, deeply happier. And honestly, this totally resolves our initial paradox. By staring straight at the possibility of loss, you instantly generate this profound, overwhelming appreciation for the present moment. The things you are holding right now suddenly regain their true, incredible value. So let's stamp this core concept right into our memories. Negative visualization is the Stoic practice that makes you happier. It's the whole shebang. It presents the tool, the methodology, and the ultimate promise all wrapped up in one continuous thought. It's this wild, counterintuitive truth that staring directly at potential loss is actually the ultimate tool to illuminate the beauty of what you currently have. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought today. We've untangled the paradox, right? We've seen exactly how this Stoic art is designed to work. The path to well-being is surprisingly clear, even if it is totally unexpected. So the real question now is, knowing this tool exists, will you embrace the negative to find your own happiness? Will you take this ancient framework and actually apply it to your modern life? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and as always, keep learning.